wild. The Las Vegas Raiders and Fernando Mendoza and Kirk Cousins, quarterbacks, working together, coming out of the tunnel ahead of their game against the Texans and C.J. Stroud last night. Texans offense starting pretty good. Woody Marks cutting this one back, power into the end zone.
Patrick, we get some run game in Houston. Fantastic.
His new teammate, David Montgomery, fired up. That was going to be it for C.J. Stroud. What about Fernando Mendoza? Ensuing Raiders drive, 2nd and 15 from their own 21.
Oh, absolutely.
Jalen Naylor.
That's such a good throw.
I mean, dime.
22 yards. They get to the 43-yard line a couple plays later. 1st and 10 from the Texans' 24. Looking for Mike Washington Jr., but it's picked off by Wade Woodhouse, who outruns Mendoza 80 yards to the house for the touchdown. The Texans extend their lead. They would go on to give up that lead. The Raiders would come back and win it 22-20. Fernando Mendoza, 8 of 15, 86 yards, and that one interception gets picked up by Max Crosby there. So there's the quarterback comparison. You see things coming out in favor of the veteran as Kirk Cousins has Fernando Mendoza has that one interception. This is week 1 versus week 2. The week 1 numbers looking a little bit better. The passer rating way favoring Fernando Mendoza in week 1. Season 1 for Fernando Mendoza. 4 starts, 5 starts. Clint Kubiak on his young quarterback. We'll have a chance to hear from him. But first, let's discuss the quarterback situation with our NFL Network insider, Mike Garafolo. Mike, we were on the Insiders about a month and change ago. Clint Kubiak says, yeah, it's Kirk Cousins' starting job. Now he seems non-committal on who the starting quarterback is. Does Fernando have a chance at this job?
Patrick, I'm going to still say that it's going to be Kirk Cousins week 1 for the Raiders. Clint Kubiak asked to clarify why he wouldn't commit to Cousins after this game the other night. He came back the next day and said, we still have some time. I don't want anybody to be comfortable in their job. And I'm going to lean toward, yeah, that's the real reason why he wouldn't go to that route. Maybe if Mendoza didn't throw that pick 6, we'd be having a different conversation because he made a great throw right before that. He made some really good throws in week 1 of the preseason, and he has certainly impressed the folks inside the Raiders building all the way up, and I'm saying all the way up, including Tom Brady, with what he's been able to do on a day-in, day-out basis in the spring, during training camp, and even in the preseason. There's that throw right there that I was just talking about. He's been able to show them the footwork he needs to do, play action, turning his back to the defense, all the things you have to do in this offense. They are supremely impressed with what he's done. But everything that Clint Kubiak has indicated since he got this job and since he was talking back at the league meeting in March that he would love a rookie quarterback to sit first. So I still think it's going to wind up being Kirk. But Mendoza certainly has turned up the heat a little bit and indicated to this team that if there's an opening for him to play early in the season, that he's deserving of.
Yeah, the opportunity to evaluate a rookie quarterback in his very first start against a Houston Texans defense that has had a pretty good run here recently, albeit those second teamers still pretty good. Mike Garafolo with the latest look at the Raiders as we get to hear from the Raiders head coach Clint Kubiak on that decision after the game.
Sat in our quarterback meeting night before the game, listened to him go through his progressions and reads and adjustments. I was very impressed with how prepared he has made himself. That whole quarterback room, led by Coach Sullivan and Andrew, have done an excellent job of being prepared. I was pleased with watching the tape. He had really good ball placement on the first third down of the game with a guy in his face. So in the critical downs, I thought he was playing his best. There are things that we must get corrected that will be addressed ASAP.
So first time to play on the road against the Houston Texans. Some parts didn't go well. What did you think of the performance from the rookie, David?
I love Clint because he's just who he is. He's going to tell you straight up what he feels. And so I think that they're actually just going through the process. They're evaluating. They're seeing things every day that we don't get a chance to see. We get to see the small snippets. That's what I sometimes I have a hard time. Like, okay, it's the pick 6 and maybe it'd be different. Yeah, but there's so many plays that he's so many snaps he's taken. Watching these guys on the field is where you're going to find where they are. And Clint Kubiak told me personally, it's like, I know he's going to be ready when he makes the other 10 guys ready and make them elevate their play on the field. And so for me, that's what we have to look at. I'm in no rush to start Fernando. I'm fine if he starts week 1. I think he's got, and I've said this, he's got one of the best quarterback elevating staffs you can have in this league. As far as getting a young guy ready, Mike Sullivan, he's my quarterback coach for the Giants. He is unbelievable at having you prepared for a football game. So I think for Fernando, he's in a great spot. He's in an absolutely great spot. This is similar to me to like Kurt Warner and the Giants, right? With Eli Manning sitting there. It's like, yeah, we got Kurt. Let's play him. Let's see what happens. And as soon as they fell out of the race in the division, here comes Eli. So I think that's kind of what we're looking at, I think. I think Clint's played good football. Obviously, Kirk's played good football under Clint, so they can do that, no doubt. Physically, Fernando's absolutely the guy. You can see him ripping around the yard, but I think this is just a matter of time, really. So I'm not in a rush. Fernando absolutely could do it, but I think right now you're probably going to see Clint go with Kurt early and then see what happens with the division and maybe put him in later in the year.
I agree with everything you just said. I really do. But if Fernando Mendoza is out there on the field come week 1, I'm not also going to be surprised. You think about the situations he's been in throughout his career, Indiana, Cal. This kid has a different mental makeup, right? He's unique. And the moment has never been too big for him. Shoot, his entire career at Cal, it seemed like he was in a quarterback battle, right? And then I think about the situation that he's in. We mentioned Kubiak, right? If the system that Clint is going to call, it's going to be run heavy. There's going to be a lot of screens, play action. There's going to be less things asked of a rookie quarterback than what a lot of guys have had to go through prior. So I'm comfortable knowing that Fernando is with Clint Kubiak. They've invested in the offensive line. I think there's a lot of good there. And he's also shown us a lot of things throughout this preseason that says why he might be the guy. Kubiak mentioned the night before meeting. I sat in those meetings before. I was coached by Kubiak. You need to know everything about the playbook if you're going to play. And he just said he was impressed with Fernando.
I was coached by his dad. I'm a lot older.
Yeah, me too. I got both Kubiaks. I got both.
So we got Clint with Fernando, David.
You know those meetings.
Yeah, they're great.
You better know your stuff.
Absolutely,
and for him to say Fernando does, that's big time.
That is big time.
Got the honest evaluation. Jackson Dart took a big hit last weekend. Viking safety Jay Ward. What pass blockers for that sack prompted officials to send Dart to the blue medical tent for evaluation, which he did clear. It's not the first time we've seen Dart in the tent. He says he's unsure why he's in there so often.
As far as the blue tent, I really respect the rules and the thought behind the NFL has of keeping players healthy and reviewing things, but at the same time I'm still puzzled by it just feeling like every time that I get hit, I just find my way in there.
Jackson Dart, obviously not the only person who's not a fan of seeing Jackson Dart get hit. We like seeing him here with his eyes up, paying attention to the field. The question, though, guys, and Brock, I'll start with you. Does he need to change his style of play?
It's a yes and a no. And first of all, the play that happened last week, that's not on him. That's on his running back. They've already signed a running back to kind of send a message, hey, we better protect our franchise guy. But I say yes and no kind of for two reasons, right? Like, you have to be the guy that got you to this point, to be the franchise quarterback for the New York Giants, right? And I think the way he plays energizes his teammates, the coaching staff, the fan base, but also at the same time, you have to know when a play is over. And you have to be available to your organization every single game out there if you're going to get things turned around in New York. So what I mean by that, know when the play's over, right? Like, is that extra yard or two on first or second down necessary of a big hit, or do we slide and get out of bounds versus is it a third down play? Is it a touchdown play? So it's a happy medium, but if anybody can coach him, I think it's John Harbaugh because of his experience with Lamar Jackson.
That's a great point you make with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Pat Mahomes, all these guys are Pat, maybe not so much lately, but those guys, Russell Wilson, Lamar, they do a great job of really stressing the defense out, using their legs, making dynamic plays, but then they also get down, Patrick. Like, they know when the play is over. Guess what? You didn't touch me. I get to jog back to the huddle, just got a first down, just dismantled your defense with my legs or my throwing ability outside the pocket. All that stuff is beautiful. You can coach that stuff out of him. Andy Reid did a good job with Pat Mahomes. You don't want, like you've said earlier, like, you don't want to take that away from him. You want him to be aggressive. That's what he's been his whole life. But you also you build in parameters, and you teach him that you can be dynamic and effective, but then also take the soul from the defense by saying you're not going to get hits on me. You don't get free shots on me. What the most stressful thing that I watch when I watch Lamar Jackson, he'll run around, make five guys miss, slide. Yeah. Get back to the huddle like no one touched me. It's like, man, that's the most deflating thing. So Jackson needs to do that. I think the coaches have to step in and kind of coach that along. But I think for the most part, we need him on the field, man. That's the biggest thing for number 6.
And we'll see how much the improvement has come, not just from Jackson Dart, but the folks around him in terms of protecting him. One of our games here coming up today on NFL Network. Here's the rest of the action that we can see today.